Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains,
we speak.
My man spider sense is tingling.
Hey, look, it's Man Spider.
How's it going, true believers? When I'm swinging through Colorado and I need comic books, I head to Arvada, Colorado, to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics.
Oh no, the teal troll is attacking me.
My son's in danger. Will no one help him?
Oh no, it's Man Spider.
Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics, the whips the competition with great deals on back issues, 50% off, hold slot, 20% off list price. You want sports memorabilia? They got that too.
Where are you going, Man Spider? The teal troll still has my son.
Here's web in your eye.
Oh no, I'm bested by Man Spider again.
So visit 6700 Wadsworth Boulevard in Arvada, Colorado, and tell them the Real Nerd sent you. Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6NERDS5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hey, this is Adventure Lounge. My name's Jagger.
And I'm Zach.
And we're on Real Nerds. Come check out the awesome crossover episode.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Denver Pop Culture Con 2019 and beyond. I am here today with
Zach
and a returning guest,
Aaron.
Welcome back, Aaron.
Pendergast, that is.
What the hell are you doing here?
Zach said they needed people, and when he told me it was Detective Pikachu week, I was like, I've played the Pokemon mobile game, so I'm pretty much an expert on Pokemon, so I felt like I should be on the show.
Nice, yeah. Well, we fired the other two guys, and so They knew nothing about Pokemon, so we had to do it.
Yeah, I can't believe you podcasted with them for 8 years now, and you didn't know that they didn't know Pokemon.
It just never came up. This is the first Pokemon movie we've had to talk about.
You went into the room and you're like, I'm so excited, guys, a new Pokemon movie. They'd be like, what's the fuck's that nerd shit? And you were like, get out. You're no longer welcome in my podcast.
So how you doing on the Pokemon Go game?
I have most of the Pokemons at this point.
Nice. I got really bored when I would constantly go places and there would be no Pokemon anywhere.
It's kind of annoying, yeah.
We found a ton at the drive-in.
Yeah.
Way too many.
In all seriousness, the game did kind of ebb and flow there. There was a time where I just stopped playing it because there wasn't any new content and it was kind of boring, and they've since added some improvements to make it a little more enjoyable. But yeah, it definitely has its moments where you're like, all right, we need some new content, guys. Nothing going on.
Who was the developer? Was it Nintech or whatever it was?
Niantic.
Niantic. I stopped using it because it kept kicking me out of my account. So every time I would re-log in or try to change the password,
they don't want you anymore. Zach's a registered user.
He just keeps capturing
Pidgeys. Let's send him all the lamest Pokemon we can.
Pidgeys, Caterpries, no Butterfrees, only Caterpries. And you can't give him the ability to level up, so... Yeah. I think I did get a Pikachu at one point, though. That was fun.
Yeah, that was the only thing I ever got that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of Pikachu...
Yeah, this week. Every week, the Real Nerds go see a new movie and they podcast their experience of the world. And this week we saw Detective Pikachu.
Or, Chimpokemon the movie.
This is much family friendlier than Shin Pokemon the movie.
Fuck.
So, review over. All right.
Good night, everybody.
So stay tuned to the end of the episode for that review. We will talk about it a little bit and then play the trailer, and then we'll do spoilers. Although I don't know if there's really spoilers for this movie.
I think there's a spoiler in this film.
If you're a fan of Pokemon, yeah, it'll definitely be spoiled for you.
Well, I think there's also a human spoiler in this film, so.
Yeah, maybe. But until then, let's go around town with me.
Hey, film buddies, follow me around Denver.
Why would I go around town with you? Why are you mentioning it? You're such a narcissist.
I'm just reading the sheet here. Like, yeah, it makes no sense. Like, no one would hang out with me ever.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, you do go to some pretty cool places. Why don't you tell us about some of them?
One of those is the drive-in, and they are playing Detective Pikachu, followed by Endgame, and then Captain Marvel. So
they only got rid of Shazam.
yeah, which is like 2 months old now. So
Yeah, I guess so. Doesn't feel like it, though.
but Captain Marvel's even older. So, but it's got the support of Endgame. So
Yeah, and
that makes a little more sense.
yeah,
and it's Disney. They own everything now at this
yeah,
point.
they probably got like a deal for playing both.
Yeah, I'm in a deal right now for them to buy us. So, fingers crossed, guys. We might be sellouts.
Yeah, so it's what Ryan's been looking forward to for 8 years.
He's just gonna live in the vault. He's just gonna abandon his wife and kid to live in that vault.
What if we did have to sell a brand? I don't know if I could. It'd have to be a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like enough to not have to think about it for the rest of your life.
The Emerging Filmmakers Project continues this Thursday, the 17th.
Right on. That's at the Bug Theater. How much is it?
It's always $5.
$5. Right on. That's not too bad for a bunch of short films, and you get Q&As with the filmmakers at the end
16th.
of it.
Sorry.
No,
not the
that's
17th. Don't show up on Friday. Show up on Thursday.
Okay, yeah. So Thursday the 16th, guys.
Yeah.
Go watch some short films. Watch some filmmakers do some Q&As.
Yep. Hang out with the bug.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. There's a Batman and Robin screening on Tuesday.
Oh, wow. I'll clear my schedule.
At various theaters. They're willing to do that. I never saw it in the theater, so I'm going to give it a shot.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing that in the theater, but I was, I don't even know how old I was when that movie came out.
Not old enough to have taste.
Exactly.
My
yeah,
dad
pretty
took me
much.
to see it in the theater only because we couldn't find a copy of Batman Sub-Zero animated at the video store, which I found out later was because it wasn't released until the year after that.
Yeah.
I was so convinced as a kid, look, Sub-Zero's at the video store. Go to the Blockbuster. It wasn't there, so he's like, well, I'll take you to this Batman. And I walked out thinking that was a good Batman movie, and I was a dumb kid. So, but
I remember being in high school and like watching some other movie, and that trailer for Batman and Robin came out. I was like, "This looks badass." And then once reviews came out and more information was revealed, yeah,
you did end up watching it.
I can skip it. Oh yeah, it's on DVD.
You know what though? If we did go, I mean, at least I want to go to a screening and see if it's completely empty. Because if it is, I'm going to make fun of it throughout the entire thing.
It probably will be. I'll explain later.
Do live riff tracks of it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that'd
yeah.
be fun.
Oh fuck yeah!
Unless someone just wanders into the screening
It's gonna be the
and
fattest-
doesn't pay for it like I had to endure.
It's going to be the fattest nerd ever. He's going to enter then and be like, "Excuse me, guys, I'm trying to watch this cinematic masterpiece of Schumacher."
Were you there? Because you're kind of describing what I ran into. Anyway, so that's what's going on around town.
Nice, cool. What else do we do on this fucking show, Brad?
I guess we can talk about the real news.
It's real news.
We got a bunch of trailers. Where to start? I'm going to start off briefly with the Watchmen trailer for HBO. It looks interesting. I've grown to appreciate Damien Lindelof as I've gotten older because I used to be young and angry and dumb. It seems like what he's done with this is kind of create a sequel that doesn't like dismiss what Snyder did, but it also doesn't acknowledge it either. Like it kind of just seems like it's coming afterward. I like the idea of the Rorschach cult and what kind of role it would play in the grand scheme of how Watchmen in this iteration would comment on America, because that's basically what it's going to do. And I like the idea of Jeremy Irons playing Adrian Veidt. I think that's a really good casting call, especially if you're going older for him. So yeah, we'll see what it is.
Yeah, no, I watched it and I was totally confused, and this didn't seem like I'm not a huge Watchmen fan, so
right. Okay.
I'm not like, oh, well, this doesn't match. But at the same time, I've seen the movie, and this didn't feel like anything related to it.
See, and I thought for the longest time that it was supposed to be just an adaptation of the book in series form, and then it could go off into whatever it wanted to do, like Game of Thrones does. Apparently, it's a sequel, or it's like set later. Because the idea of a Rorschach cult, like if you don't know the character of Rorschach, he's like an uber vigilante, like Batman if he were a homicidal maniac, which I guess Snyder already did technically.
No, he's just a kid at high school. His teacher's Mr. Cotter. That's Rorschach.
Rorschach. Oh my god, Horshack as Rorschach. Ooh. Oh, guys, welcome back, Watchmen.
John Travolta's in it.
He plays the Night Owl. Oh my God, I couldn't have sex with her. Oh my God. Sorry, I couldn't give it up, Juniper. Sally Jupiter. That's her name, Sally Jupiter. But the Rorschach character, like, he dies at the end of the first Watchmen book.
Spoiler.
Hey, you saw the movie. Shut up. But the idea that his ideals, because of the letters he sent to that publishing company, would endure. Or he sent it to a newspaper, sorry. But, like, those ideas would endure and create a cult is actually, like, very astute. So,
I'm glad I'm not the only one who also thought it was just an adaptation of the book in series format, because that when I saw the trailer, I was like, wait, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And then I read a few things that said, it looks like a sequel and everything, and then it made more sense. But
or it could be both, Again, we're only seeing, like, a piece of footage. I think it's a really well-edited trailer, though. Like, no question about it. But the biggest news of the trailer world is obviously Spider-Man Far From Home, which it came out this week, right?
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize it is a new trailer. Yeah.
It is a new trailer, yeah, because we didn't talk about it when we recorded Missing Link. So we got a new Spider-Man trailer, which Ryan seems to always be missing for these discussions. I liked it. It looks fun. Definitely answered the question of whether or not this takes place before or after. I was wrong. So, but also, I guess, in relation to that news, like, I guess this Earth is now, the MCU Earth is like Earth 616 or something like that. So,
which if Ryan was here, he could explain that better.
Yeah. The easiest way I can is they introduced the multiverse theory, and that's as far as I go with it knowledge-wise. All I know is that Jake Gyllenhaal looks like he's working with Nick Fury, but I'm sure that Jake Gyllenhaal is going to turn out to be a dick at the end of the movie.
If there's a multiverse, I wonder, does that mean that there is a living? Wait, I should be less specific. There might be living characters that did not make it through Endgame in other multiverses.
That means you could bring back some Loki. Well, I guess they're already doing that with the TV show.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they kind of established that in the movie, too.
I'm thinking of some non-snapped people.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Loki wasn't snapped.
Well, he was, but different kind of snap.
Yeah, they snapped his neck.
Yeah.
But also, well, Gamora, they already solved Gamora at the end of Endgame. Spoilers, guys, it's been long enough. I guess Black Widow, and Vision, honestly. Vision would be an interesting pull. Because, like, I honestly thought he was going to come back at the end of Endgame, and then I was like, oh, no, they kept to their guns on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He was the last to die before the snap, so.
Exactly, yeah. And then Thor hit him with an axe and be like, you should have aimed for the head. And then snap.
I kind of assumed anyone that died pre-snap was not coming back when they undid the snap, just because there's only so, I guess, in theory, if you, as ridiculous as the whole premise is, you would think undoing whatever he did would just undo that action, not any previous actions.
Right.
Yeah. But not knowing the actual mechanics of how the gauntlet works with a snap, I'm just like, it seems like you can control anything, so you could wish those people back, which would Banner try to do.
I think it's basically the same mechanical operations as Mickey's hat in The Sorcerer Apprentice, where it just does whatever the fuck you want it to do.
Exactly. That's why I'm questioning why they can't just bring those people back, regardless of the snap.
Because story and money.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, though, they're not sticking to their guns on Loki, technically, because they're going to bring him back for that show that he's doing. But it's not the same Loki, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Because his future would still be set even if he went away with the Tesseract, right?
Well, he created an alternate universe by doing that.
Then never mind.
Yeah.
No, they cheated again.
Mm-hmm,
All right.
exactly.
Maybe the old multiverse is Loki's doing.
Could be, yeah, because he took off. That's what created it.
Ooh, there you go. So Loki, Tom Hiddleston's still managing to be a part of this franchise after how many years? But yeah, and then the rest of the trailer looked fun too. Like, I liked Spider-Man hanging out, being a high school kid, and then suddenly not doing that.
I really want to know how they're going to deal with that 5-year jump because like half of his friends from high school in theory should be out of high school and into college by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Did just the key characters from the first new Spider-Man movie happen to be ones that were snapped away as well?
Yeah, Flash Thompson, MJ, Ned, they were all snapped away.
You said Aunt May? Yeah.
Aunt May? No, I
She must have been snapped too, because she was at the funeral, and she seemed she didn't age.
yeah, so she probably got snapped away.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, Ryan's the Spider-Man expert, so next week he'll be able to talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah.
Last trailer though that we got is my favorite of the week, which is It Chapter 2.
I haven't watched that one yet.
That was a fun trailer. It's not really a spoiler or anything. It shows a lengthy scene from the film and then shows a bit of a montage. Kind of like what the first It trailer was doing, where they showed the scene of Georgie and the balloon in the sewer. I like the way they're going with this, like in terms of just setting.
I didn't realize James McAvoy was in it.
Oh yeah, no, he plays Bill in it.
Yeah, the adult cast is pretty killer.
It is. Like the fact that they got Jessica Chastain to do it is awesome. It didn't surprise me that she was able to do it though, because she's worked with the director before on the movie Mama. So it looks great. I liked the way the drama was kind of pulled out in that scene prior to the horror kicking in. And I mean, yeah, like I'm excited as anybody else to watch the conclusion of this whole nonsense. Because I saw chapter 1 first, and then I watched the miniseries, so I already know how it ends. And then, so I'd like to see how they do it better this time around. There is a piece of news within that, though, that there's a scene from the book that's supposed to kick in the adult years, where a kid and his boyfriend are making out near a bridge, and a bunch of homophobic people come and kind of bully and torture them, and that's how Pennywise is able to ascend. And he ascends with hundreds of red balloons floating from below a bridge. And there was thoughts that scene wasn't going to come into the film or make the final cut. It is, and filmmaker Xavier Dolan's playing the character in question who gets beat up. So, yeah, you get to see a bunch of balloons rise from below a bridge. It'll be quite a visual spectacle. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I had this right. Oh, we had a death this week. Alvin Sargent passed away. He was the screenwriter for Ordinary People and Spider-Man's 1, 2, 3. So
Yeah.
This guy had an interesting career. He also wrote the film Julia, which he won an Oscar for. And he wrote Paper Moon, which, if you haven't seen Paper Moon, it's a wonderful film. But yeah, Big Bucket of Wind at 92. I mean, like, he didn't write all of Spider-Man 1, but he wrote Spider-Man 2. So
Yeah.
he's responsible for one of the best comic book movies of all time, which I was actually watching this morning with my nephew. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Did you know there's going to be a Cats movie?
Yep.
Did you know that Tom Hooper's directing it?
Nope.
Did you know that Taylor Swift's going to be in this shit?
Nope.
Apparently she went to cat school to learn how to be a cat. This isn't really news. I just wanted to bring this up because I'm amazed.
I'm not.
I'm not like the biggest Taylor Swift fan in the world, but I'm like, damn, man, you're committed. Like, I'll give you that. If you really.
Well, when you got all the money in the world, you can go to whatever fucking cat school you made up.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just mainly amazed that this is actually a thing. I didn't think this was actually happening. This is like James's preacher shit, where you're just like, no, this is never going to happen. And
I'm shocked it didn't happen sooner. Like in the 80s and early 90s, like Cats was huge.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would have thought then you would see this.
Yeah, didn't they have? But they did have that video of the live performance that Warner Brothers would sell. Like you would see it. Like I see it like in every like 99-cent bin you can ever see, like at a garage sale or something like
Next
that.
to the Riverdance.
Yes,
DVDs.
Riverdance and the Nutcracker with Macaulay Culkin. That's the trilogy right there. But yeah, no, Cats the movie. You want to watch a shitty musical film?
Made into a shittier movie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like. Andrew Lloyd Webber's made one good musical, and that's not even that great. Fight me. The Invisible Man reboot, remake, whatever that's being done at Blumhouse has a plot. Synopsis revealed. It's going to be directed by Lee Wannell. The plot description as it stands is: movie follows Celia, Elizabeth Moss, who receives the news of her abusive ex-boyfriend's suicide. She begins to rebuild her life for the better, but her sense of reality is put into question when she begins to suspect her deceased lover is not actually dead. I like this because if you watch the original Invisible Man, he is an abusive jerk. And he's also a homicidal maniac who killed 100 people. He is the he is the killer in the Universal Monster series with the highest body count. So the direction they're going with this essentially is to kind of reverse engineer it and tell it from the girlfriend's perspective, which I appreciate. And the fact that Lee Wannell's doing it is pretty fucking amazing. So, and they're doing it low budget, so that's good. That means they learned their lesson from that mummy nonsense.
That's an interesting direction. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's how you should never have tried to connect these films necessarily. You should have kind of just like one organically, like MCU did, where it's just see what happens. But also like the Universal Monsters, like in that box set that I got over there. Those films like work best on their own, but they are like thematically and spiritually connected. So they can kind of they can all coexist if they want, but they probably shouldn't by necessity.
And just trying to make them action blockbusters.
That was a dumb idea. That was always
they got away with The Mummy for Future Eyes.
Yeah.
That's not enough for me to say, like, yeah, these should be a franchise that's, making $1 billion at the box office.
And you have to realize, like, I mean, Blumhouse is running it, but Universal's still, like, attached to it. This is their 4th time to set off this shit. They tried it with Van Helsing. They tried it with Dracula Untold. They tried it with The Mummy with Tom Cruise. And the only reason I think that the Mummy movies by Stephen Sommers work is because they're not meant to be, like, they're scary for kids, but they're not scary for adults.
I feel like they're less about The Mummy. Like, they're more about...
It's about Rick O'Connell and his adventures with her...
It's more Indiana Jones than it is...
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly what I was thinking about this week.
Yeah.
And the second one is just as fun. The third one it's a movie.
Yeah, I think repurposing these characters as indie horror will give them a better new life.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, like, technically, if we want to, cross-pollinate studios, The Shape of Water is already the Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. So they've already won, right? Last piece of news, and stop me if I'm out of date with this, but Spider-Man Far From Home news, J. Jonah Jameson and the Daily Bugle will appear in the MCU, which makes my heart sing. Yeah.
That's exciting. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I
wonder who's gonna play that J. Jonah Jameson part. That's pretty iconic.
I saw someone on the internet suggest that Terry Crews was gonna do it, and I was like, that'd be cool. I would see that. Obviously my heart would want J.K. Simmons to come back. I know he won't do it, or I know they're not gonna do it, but they should. If the multiverse theory exists, then they could pull him from the Raimi universe and bring him into the MCU.
I'll buy it if they do it. I'll buy that.
And while you're at it, bring in Willem Dafoe. Let's get him in as the Green Goblin one more time.
I mean, not content with buying Fox out, they're slowly trying to buy out Sony.
The multiverse thing's interesting too, because I've heard this is kind of how they'll bring X-Men and some of the other Marvel properties they've picked up back into the fold. That's why we haven't seen these characters before, because they were in another universe and now they got pulled into ours.
I would explain why Scarlet Witch isn't part of the X-Men in this universe, but in another universe she is, and my name is Patrick Stewart. And I can't do that accent. Anyway, that's news.
I might be wrong, but I was trying to think of what other... Because a lot of the MCU that we know is adaptations of like recent comic book storylines. And one of those was House of M, which I think Scarlet Witch was a big part of, or at least the catalyst of.
Isn't it that she destroys the X-Men or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, she wipes out like half of... not like a Thanos, but I think she wipes out like half of the mutants or something, and it's this whole thing.
Did she feel sad about it? But she should. She wiped out half the X-Men.
I don't know. I think she's crazy or something.
Yeah, it's a super, super dark comic side series. I don't think it's actually it's one of those alternate universe and didn't happen in the main canon kind of things, because a bunch of people get really messed up in it.
There's one storyline or even offshoot. I can't remember what exactly it is, but I think it's set years in the future, and it pits Wolverine against Cyclops, and Cyclops is basically taking the Magneto position, and Wolverine is defending Charles Xavier's position, because years have passed by and Cyclops became more militant. It was an interesting story.
That would all tie into Logan.
Yeah, it would actually.
Oh, hashtag it's all connected with Fox.
Yeah, I mean, in the movie they kind of suggest that Xavier had a mental breakdown that killed all the mutants, but what if it was actually Scarlet Witch, but he thought it was him.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that could be interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway,
But I also don't want anything touching Logan because that
Yeah.
thing's good on its own.
it's Disney's now.
Yeah,
They
it's
can
true.
play with it.
Still one of my favorite moments in X-Men movie history is Patrick Stewart in a wheelchair talking about the quesalupa at Taco Bell because he's having his dementia spell. But it's okay because then he makes me cry later. Anyway, that's news, like I said.
Cool. Corinne has her usual Catching the Classics for us. And this week she saw Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. So here's Corinne.
Hey nerds, Corinne here for part 20.2 of Catching the Classics, which is actually part 2 of Catching the Miyazaki Classics. It's a little bit of a spin-off series I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks where I'm going to be reviewing all 11 of Hayao Miyazaki's films that he's directed. So this week I'm going to be tackling Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which is one of his films I hadn't seen before, so coming at it with a fresh perspective. So just a quick synopsis of the movie. So Nausicaa is this princess in a valley set near the coastline because it's in a post-apocalyptic world and there's like all this stuff in the air, and so the fact that they're near this coast, you know, with all the wind coming off the sea, that's good for them. Because so it's post-apocalyptic world where humanity like 1,000 years before had wiped out most of like civilization through something. It's basically nuclear weapons, but they're called the God Soldiers, and one of them is in the movie. Minor spoilers. So Earth is recovering from that, and there's these forests that have taken over most of the world. And the forests are guarded by ohms, which are these giant bug things. There are also other bugs, but the ohms are the biggest of them. And so Nausicaa is helping to lead her people, helping them to learn to live alongside the forest and the bugs. And then there's a bunch of like political turmoil that comes to the Valley of the Wind. So I want to say that even though I haven't reviewed Princess Mononoke yet, this film reminds me a lot of Princess Mononoke in that they have similar tones and similar themes. Both of them have this kind of political, environmental, industrial kind of thing going on. Different, like the same aspects, the same kind of messages to them. And I mean, I enjoyed watching the movie. It wasn't as fun as Porco Rosso. I mean, Porco Rosso is like a breezy 90-minute watch, and this is like much more ambitious in terms of like the world and the story it's building. It's heavier in terms of its themes and its messages, and it's just it's a lot more dense, and I appreciate what they were trying to accomplish, but I think those things are done better in Princess Mononoke, in political and environmental angles, and there are just a lot of moving parts in this movie, and I find it kind of interesting that it was classified as a children's film. Like, when I went to go pick it up from the library, it was in the kids section. And, I don't know, that just seems like a weird choice for me. I think older kids, like, 8, 9, 10-year-olds would be fine with it, but I feel like a 5 or 6-year-old would be confused or overwhelmed because, like I said, I think there's a lot going on in this movie, at least compared to Porco Rosso or like My Neighbor Totoro or Ponyo. Like, I feel like those are very like young, kid-friendly Miyazaki films, and this is like a little bit more older kid to preteen, sort of. I mean, not like you couldn't enjoy it as an adult, but I think older kids would be able to appreciate it more than younger ones. So, anyway, and plus there are some parts that felt a little bit long, so I think kids, I don't know, obviously it just depends on the kid, but I think that younger ones might not enjoy it as much as the older ones. So, yeah, this is really hard to review because I do appreciate what they were trying to do, but again, I think Princess Mononoke does it better. But that being said, by no means is it a bad movie. It's really well done. I like the design of the ohms. I think they're really, really cool. And I like how they interact with the world of the story. There's a lot of like really cool visuals in the movie. And I really like the character of Nausicaa, because when she was first introduced, she was kind of this, I mean, she came across to me as this like borderline like Disney princess type of character, where she's, cares about the animals, and she's, like everybody loves her, and she's almost too good to be true. Like, she seemingly doesn't have any faults, and because of that, she almost doesn't feel real. But there's this scene, it's about a third of the way through the movie, where, minor spoilers ahead, so this other kingdom invades the Valley of the Wind, and these soldiers come into the castle, and they kill Nausicaa's father, the king. And so Nausicaa runs in, and she sees these soldiers standing over the, her father's dead body, having killed him. And she just goes apeshit, and she just kills all of them. And it's a kind of a really dark turn. I mean, I don't know how to explain it without giving away too much. It's probably the darkest thing that happens in the movie in terms of the tone, because I feel like the visuals get darker, but the tone kind of stays like this middle area where it's not light, but it's not dark. But this is a really heavy scene where you see the main character run out and kill some fools. And it's a great moment for her, because afterward she feels terrible about it. Instead of using this moment to be like these people came in and they invaded our country and they killed my father, like, I'm gonna get them, like, we're gonna fight back, they don't deserve to. It actually does the opposite, and it makes her recommit to pacifism and to protecting life. She tells her people, like, we can't fight them because, well, one, they're much better armed, but two, it's not worth losing another life over this. Like, yes, it sucks that their home is being invaded, but she's like, I would rather us lose our home than lose each other. And that's just such a great moment. I was like, all right, I'm on board. I love this character. I love this, what it's trying to tell, even though, again, I think there were some parts of it that are a little too heavy for kids, but I think the message is good. And plus, she has this cute little, I think they called it a fox squirrel, Tato. Oh, it's the cutest thing. And it, like, hangs out. It's like a little sidekick, kind of like Abu and Aladdin. But it's so cute. I want one. I want a fox squirrel. Can somebody get to work on that? But yeah, so yeah, it's just a really well-made film. The voice cast is, this might be one of the better voice casts, I think. Edward James Olmos, Patrick Stewart, Uma Thurman. I forget the lady who plays Nausicaa, but she does a great job. The one problem I have with it is Shia LaBeouf plays Nausicaa's, I don't know if he's supposed to be her love interest. He's a prince from another kingdom, and she and him team up at some point in the movie and spend a lot of time together. And I mean, I guess they could become love interests later on, but that's not really the point of the movie. But yeah, I don't know, he just has such a distinct voice that, I mean, I just could not hear Shia LaBeouf whenever he talked. He just sounds very, like, you just know it's him, and you just can't not hear Shia LaBeouf anytime he talks. So that's just me. He doesn't do a bad job. I just think you probably could have found somebody who was arguably better. So yeah, Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. Good movie. Obviously, all these Miyazaki movies are worth watching. I think this is, I don't know, it's, let's just say I'll give it a B. And again, you gotta grade it on a Miyazaki curve, so it's it's a B in terms of like Miyazaki movies, but it's like a, A in terms of like anything else you could probably watch these days. So check it out if you feel so inclined. I think there are Miyazaki movies I like better. I think there are Miyazaki movies that are done better. But again, this is by no means a bad film. So check it out. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. So next week, I'm going to be reviewing Castle in the Sky, which is another one of the Miyazaki movies I haven't seen yet, so I'm excited. So I will talk to you all next time, and I hope you had fun at your movie this week. Bye.
Yeah, I should have prefaced this before. She's cashing in the Miyazaki classics now, so
Yeah, right on.
Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. I haven't seen it, and she clearly has explained most of it for me.
It's extremely political from what it seems like, or at least like got some heavy themes to work with. So,
Right.
And Patrick Stewart's in it, so hey.
Nice. Yeah, I actually have not seen that one either, and I feel like it was playing this coming weekend at my usual theater or a different weekend at a theater that we usually go to, and we were not going to be in town, so we weren't able to catch it. But eventually we'll get around to seeing it.
I feel like a lot of theaters have a lot of Miyazaki series going on.
Because they make money.
I had no idea.
Equal
All the ones
money.
I've been to, they've been low attended, so I don't like at the Esquire and
Okay, so
Alamo
then Miyazaki makes no money.
So and I guess the American side, it's Disney, so
Right.
Yeah, maybe they promote it better. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he has a good following in this country, but I think in the wrong market it doesn't play well, and maybe we're just not a big enough market to have a lot of attendance at those. But if you showed it in California, maybe enough people would show up to.
Makes sense.
I find it fascinating how much of a reach his work does have, though, because I'm not a big anime guy, but I like Miyazaki. So and I know it's not technically the same thing, but
yeah, and some of these actually they aren't Miyazaki; they're just Studio Ghibli in general. So
yeah, exactly. But like Spirited Away, I maintain is still one of the best animated films I've ever seen. So,
I'd also like to point out that Corinne is also writing blogs about these Miyazaki classics on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So check those out, and she's also doing some Blacklist recaps.
I know. I read one of them. That was the QT or her Kill Bill comparison.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
So go over to the website. She's writing articles now. Check them out. Give them a read.
Yep.
And
do some reading in your life.
Yeah. Can't just listen to everything
and watch everything.
I guess you're watching letters go by as you read.
Yeah, technically, but you control that though. The movie you don't get to. Well, I guess you can control the film too with rewind and fast forward. So anyway, read a fucking book. Anyway, Brad, what else do we do?
Zach, what Blu-rays, 4Ks, and DVDs are coming out?
I will tell you.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Do you want to see Godzilla in 4K? And I'm not talking about good Godzilla. I'm talking about bad Godzilla.
Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Yes, Matthew Broderick. You can get Roland Emmerich's Godzilla in 4K this week. And it looks like it's in a steelbook, too. So,
wow.
If you really want to give Sony money for dumb decisions, go ahead and do that. That movie sucks. Criterion, however, is putting out a good movie called Funny Games from Michael Haneke, and you can pick that up. It's the original version from 1997, so that's a great film. He's a great filmmaker. That movie will disturb you. If you want to play catch with Kevin Costner in 4K, you can do that with Field of Dreams, which is coming out in a regular 4K and in a steelbook. A documentary that Brad and I saw in IMAX called Apollo 11 is coming to Blu-ray. It doesn't say anything about a 4K, so I think it's just a Blu-ray, which sucks, but whatever. Documentaries don't get treated well. Shout Select is doing This Gun for Hire, a 1942 noir film with Veronica Lake, Robert Preston, and Alan Ladd. I have seen this film. It is really fun. You can go check that out if you'd like. One of my favorite films from this year, Fighting with My Family, is coming out on Blu-ray. You can check that out if you haven't seen it. It's a fun wrestling movie that's got some heart to it. And believe it or not, Nick Frost has one of the most tender-hearted things he's ever done in a movie in that movie. We can also get Happy Death Day to You, the sequel to the highly successful Happy Death Day film. You can check that out. I like that film a lot. If you want to hear Liam Neeson say some awkward shit, oh wait, no, that's not in the movie. That's just in real life. But you can watch Cold Pursuit, the film he was promoting when he said that awkward shit, in 4K. You didn't read it.
You can watch him say the awkward shit in 4K, or
No, I canceled that because I realized it wasn't the movie. So
well, damn it.
yeah, I mean, it would be great to see news footage in 4K, wouldn't it?
I will not be rewatching it. I was so bored in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers, it's not going to make it on my 2019 Film Explosion.
Oh, well, boo. I'm curious. I mean, maybe I won't get bored. Maybe we watch movies differently. Brad, do you would you want to see a Buster Keaton movie? How about that?
Okay.
Okay. Well, you can get 2 of his films on Blu-ray from Cohen Media Collection, The General and Steamboat Bill Jr., which are considered 2 of the classic comedies that he made. So
Those were out already, but okay.
yeah, but Kino Lorber had him out, or one of the Flickr Alley, one of the other 2 companies, but they always buy from each other. Like you can always get like one version.
So Shout has it now.
No, Cohen Media.
Cohen Media. Okay.
Cohen Media.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Cohen Film Collection.
They always have that big square C.
They've grabbed some Universal titles in the past, like the old Dark House and stuff like that. But you can check it out there. There's a steelbook of the King Kong remake in 4K, which looks pretty neat. You can check that out. Mill Creek is putting out Ghosts of Mars, and I'm going to get that only out of obligation for completion. So I will not rewatch it again.
You're going to watch it to completion?
No, because I want all the John Carpenter films. So I will watch it to completion. Yes, I'm going to masturbate to that film, Brad. Just enjoy that. Just sink in. Let it sink in even longer, because you're gonna wish it was there later. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything else. There's a film called Mortuary. Looks like it's cheap, and it looks like it's got a gal who may be either ridden with forest disease or mummy disease, something like that. I don't know. It's from 2005. Why don't you check it out? Oh, and I guess you can get a reissue of Anaconda. Yeah, Anaconda. Anyway, that's Blu-rays.
Cool. That brings us to what we've been watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Aaron, what have you been watching?
Oh, so funnily enough, I was listening to one of your other episodes. I think it was 392 or 393, and you mentioned Zach having not seen Escape Room, and I watched Escape Room recently.
Oh, really? What'd you think?
You know, it's it reminded me a lot of Cabin in the Woods, but it never reaches the same level that Cabin in the Woods does, where, you know, it's very self-aware and it's very tongue-in-cheek, and Escape Room tries to take itself too seriously. So as a like PG-13 horror thriller, there's no violence in it really, and it's also not really very scary, so it just kind of doesn't like hit any of the marks it's, I think, trying to emulate with its premise. And then also just the adaptation of, here's a popular thing, let's turn it into a movie somehow, doesn't really work. And so the absurdity doesn't quite work because it doesn't have that self-awareness that a movie like Cabin in the Woods had.
Does it work better than most films like that might? Like, is it watchable?
I would say it's watchable, but only just.
Okay.
The trailers, to me, it looked more like Holodeck, the movie.
Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah,
Holodeck, or like Saw, but with dumb puzzles.
VR Saw.
VR Saw,
VR
yeah,
Saw,
yeah, that's it. That's a better one.
that's it.
Or AR Saw, I guess, augmented reality.
AR Saw, yeah, that's probably
Why
an
am I
accurate
wearing these
depiction.
glasses? Maybe I'll check it out if it's like 99 cents on Amazon. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to try and grab it in the dollar theater, but I always missed it.
Yeah, now you can catch it in the dollar bin.
Right. Yeah, if it's streaming, I'd say check it out, but otherwise don't spend money on it.
Okay, right on.
I watched the extremely wicked, vile, just whatever Bundy
Extremely
movie.
wicked, shockingly evil, and vile.
That's the one.
Why did you shoot that duck, you asshole? John Malkovich.
That was it was pretty good. I liked that the focus, and Zach, we were talking about this before we started as well, but
yeah, I watched it this week as well.
I like the focus that the movie starts with, but then towards the end it shifts to being more focused on Bundy as opposed to his wife or ex-wife, I guess now. But it tries to show how charismatic Bundy was and how he was able to get away with the things that he did. But instead of pulling it off, they missed the mark. Instead of looking like a crazy psychotic person that you can't believe pulled off these things. It's almost like they're saying, look how awesome he was because he could pull off all of these things. So it's got the wrong tone, I think, in that regard. But overall, it's a good film. The performances are great, and I did enjoy watching it. And then we revisited Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Which I assumed was going to have not aged well, and we would turn it off halfway through and do something else. But surprisingly,
you were wrong. That movie's great.
We did make it through, and I was surprised how many of the jokes remained somewhat funny. A lot of them were no longer funny, and I appreciated a lot more of just little aspects of the movie than 12-year-old me did when it came out, like the fact that when they're in Austin's convertible in the 60s, the background is very clearly a screen with a projection on it, but it's not done. It's almost done as an homage to that era of filmmaking, not as like a joke or a gag.
It's kind of like what Pulp Fiction does when Bruce Willis or when Butch is in the car with the taxi driver, and she's like, "Have you ever killed a man?" Like, it's basically that same thing where they're making fun of the backdrop.
Exactly.
I think there's even scenes like that in the James Bond movies, like the early ones that utilize that technique.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciated that more, and there was some actually like surprisingly a very astute commentary on consent in one scene that I would not have expected from that movie.
I know, right? Because she's like, they're gonna have sex. She's like, no, you're drunk, and I'm like, yeah, good for you, Austin.
Yeah. So yeah, those were things that again when I was 12 I didn't pick up on, but now I'm like, oh wow, that was a good scene.
Yeah, no,
good on you for doing that.
I'm actually like convinced that like I don't think you should make a fourth one, but if Myers were to write and produce and not star in, but write and produce a reboot of that concept could work. I don't know how you do it, but like the whole Man Out of Time, like thinking that it's okay to like be a swinger and whatnot, and it's totally not. Like it would be relevant today. I've rewatched the second and third one recently, and they do not hold up. I like the second one still. I do not like the third one anymore. But Spy Who Shagged Me, like it was the first of his films I had seen in a theater, so it does kind of like have a memories nostalgia place in my heart. And I also like the moment when the woman who turns out to be a fembot keeps getting shot while he's ducking behind her. And he at one point he just goes, "Why won't you die?" Right on. Cool. Austin Powers.
Yeah. And that's all I can think of right now. I'm sure there's more, but
no. Cool.
Just interrupt later if you think of it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We do that all the time.
Zach, what have you been watching this week?
Not a whole lot. I watched the Extremely Wicked Fuck you. I watched the Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile film. And Aaron and I were talking about it earlier, but I think I'm a little more hip on it than, or not hip, but forgiving of it than he is.
Because you think serial killing's cool?
No, because that's not the impression I got in the film. Now, my thing is that I already knew Bundy was bad going in.
I just noticed this Ted Bundy poster on your wall. Where'd that come from?
Oh, well, it came out of Serial Killers Monthly. I get it every week.
Why are all the eyes crossed out on all your DVDs?
If it's monthly, how do you get it every week?
Why's the door locked?
There are holes in your story, Zach.
Yes, exactly. Guys, did you notice that you were shackled?
Quick, what's the number for 911?
I love that joke. No, but because I had watched that documentary a week ago, I knew, like, I already had the pre-basis for everything. So, like, every time he's doing something, I'm creeped out by it already. But I had to watch it also from the perspective that I knew nothing about Bundy. And from that perspective, it's very interesting, and I think in that aspect it's very good. I will say, though, and I agree with Aaron on this, they focus a little too much on Bundy and, like, not enough on his girlfriend. Like, that story should be predominantly her, and then Bundy's a side supporting character, like...
And it starts that way, but then it shifts away from her. Right?
Exactly, because then they want to show you, like, oh, he escaped from Aspen jail, and or the Aspen courthouse, I guess. But and then he escaped from jail again, and there is a Catch Me If You Can type of vibe to this movie in certain places, which isn't ill-placed, but ill-advised, is the best way I would describe it. I think the cast is great, though. Like, Efron's great in the film. This is a performance you're not expecting out of him, and he pulls it off so well. I think Lily Collins is the star of the movie. She gives an amazing performance in the film. Haley Joel Osment's great in it. Heck, even Big Bang Theory is good in it too. But I think like ultimately the thing you want to know about the film is that so it's very, there's no violence in this movie at all whatsoever. Like up until the last 15 minutes, and it's only one scene that they show. But like the whole film is basically just conversations that like talk about graphic shit, but they're not like they're nothing being shown until the revelation at the end, which I won't spoil because it is technically a spoiler, I guess, an emotional spoiler. I don't know how else you describe it. But yeah, and I mean the director of it, Joe Berlinger, who I've talked about numerous times on this podcast. I want to see him do more narrative features, but one of my bigger issues with the film is that he used a little too much archive footage. So I think he needs to. If I would have one piece of advice for this experienced Oscar-nominated director, it would be to not to meld the two genres so much. But still an interesting watch. I'd highly recommend it. And then the only other things that I'd watched this week were I watched the first two Spider-Mans with my nephew. But I didn't really watch them. I was kind of taking care of him while watching them, while he was watching them. He responded very well to Bruce Campbell's cameo. He was transfixed when Willem Dafoe was on the screen. And he really liked Spider-Man trying to make a web happen, but it wasn't happening. He started giggling when he was going up, up, and away web. And then Spider-Man 2, he sat through the first half and then crashed about halfway through. So he doesn't know how it ends. So... He's wrestling now in his sleep, wondering what happens at the end of Spider-Man 2. I feel bad for him. And then
That's your fault.
I didn't force him to go to sleep.
You forced him to watch it.
So by that logic, you're saying that Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is so boring it'll put a baby to sleep.
I didn't say it's so boring that it put it to sleep. I'm just saying that you forced your nephew to watch it, and
I didn't force him to it. I put it on while I was hanging out with him.
He didn't have a say in the matter. You forced him to watch it.
He's 1.5. If he would tell me what he'd want to watch,
he could have watched nothing.
That is true. He could have just played with his toys.
Yeah, you're trying to babysit him, not do your job and have this television entertain him.
Fair. On the other hand, shut up. I was amazed though that he paid attention to as much of it as he did, though, because we can't get him to sit down for much.
It's pretty colorful.
Yeah, it is. The last thing we got him to sit in front of while he was here was An American Tail, and that's because it's An American Tail. But so yeah, and then the only thing else I've been watching is Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, so you're on the Inner Light. That's a good episode.
It is. The episode before it, or maybe it's Iborg. I really liked Iborg with 305. Or Hugh. I think that's a wonderful episode. There was one before it though where Deanna's counseling a kid who has an imaginary friend, and the imaginary friend comes to life. I thought that should have been more of a horror movie than it ended up being, because it ended up just being shitty version of The Bad Seed. But it's still an interesting episode. I like the way it ends with Picard confronting the being that's taken the form of the imaginary friend. But it starts out like a horror movie, which is pretty cool, where it's the energy being is kind of going through the scene in that Star Trek visual effect way, and everybody else is kind of just going about their daily lives, which I'm I appreciate seeing the daily life of the Enterprise. It's kind of one of those things that I don't see that often, and when I do, it's kind of a treat. So, and I like seeing the arboretum of the Star Trek ships. So those are always fun. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going, see what happens, and I was thinking about this with Iborg. It makes me not I love First Contact, but the idea of the Borg Queen now makes no sense to me. Because it's supposed to just be a collective, so
right. But it was. But when they introduced Hugh into it, it changed the collective.
Oh,
right.
Oh,
am I misremembering?
Well,
because that was the whole dilemma of Hugh was like they wanted to use him to poison the well, basically.
Yeah.
But then they introduced like, if he's if he has individuality, then it's like wrong to use him to kill his own race.
Right. Yeah. So they send him back, and he's just gonna like maintain the Like he's gonna stay in the collective, but he remembers that he's friends with Geordi.
Yeah, but his individuality, like he's gonna connect to the collective anyway.
Yeah.
So that still poisons the well.
Okay.
Which is, I think, is how the Borg Queen is created.
Okay, then that makes sense. Because like when I first saw the series and then watched First Contact, like I must have known, but like over the years I've never really put the pieces together.
Yeah, I always thought it was always the Borg Queen, and they just didn't know about it until the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But watching the series again, it kind of seems like that's what happened.
And it's always the possibility, like with anything with Star Trek, like things just develop over time in the movies that don't retcon the series, but like it add new information that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Like Chekhov knowing who the fuck Khan was in Star Trek 2. Like Chekhov, you weren't there that year.
Or in Nemesis, they introduced B4 instead of lore.
Yeah.
The whole series is just B4 and lore, and all of a sudden the movie's like, oh yeah, Data and lore.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's B4. Yeah,
there's a third one. Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, Nemesis is an interesting piece, which we should do a commentary on sometime. Anyway, that's all I watched this week.
Nice. You reminded me. I watched Into the Spider-Verse again this week,
Ooh.
Which is a great movie, great soundtrack.
It's a wonderful film.
Yeah,
a true comic book come to life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the when you can see the little dots for the coloring on
halftones.
Yeah, it's just the detail is insane.
Is it possible that is my favorite Nick Cage movie in the last 5 years? I think it is.
Mandy? You like Mandy?
Oh, I do like Mandy. I do like Mandy. I've learned, I was a little tepid on it when we saw it, but I've thought about it more recently, and I did rewatch it like a couple of weeks ago. I like that movie now more. I kind of wish it was still in theaters. That thing looks... Have you seen Mandy, Aaron?
I have not seen Mandy yet, no.
It's really good.
I think Almo's going to screen it again at some point, or they already did.
I'll let you know, Aaron. We'll go.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that, because I did want to see it, but I just didn't get to checking it out. It was kind of, Nicolas Cage, it is always a bit of a concern, yeah. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if my wife's going to be okay with doing this. It's Nicolas Cage, and we all know how that can end up. So,
and I forgot, Panos Cosmatos is the Cobra director's son, George P. Cosmatos.
Really?
Yeah, that's his son. So they're both making action movies.
Yeah, but is he as crazy?
No, I think Panos is crazier.
Or I guess ruder, I guess.
No, then it's George.
I was watching the Cobra behind the scenes, and people did not like that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess he made Tombstone, so...
I think Panos might be crazier, but George is probably more dickish.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen Mandy, check it out. That movie's very realistic in terms of pacing revenge movie, so I would check it out. Brad, what have you watched this week?
This week I finished Cheers, so got through all 11 seasons of that.
Did everybody know your name?
Sure.
Were they always glad you came?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I was watching them.
That's the right answer.
So...
Were you doing it to connect to the Frasier binge that you did earlier?
Yeah. I often just need something to play as I'm working, and so...
Is it on Netflix?
Things that have like 11 seasons are really good for that, because I can just hit it and go.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Did you have it on Netflix? Or
yeah, Netflix.
Oh, nice. Right on.
Yeah, I'd watched it before years ago, but since I just watched Frasier, I figured I'd go back through. And, there's some like... I'm also watching for the continuity lineups of, Frasier's... like what Frasier says, before his own series, because in Frasier, his mom's dead, but there's an episode where she's like giving Diane shit while they're dating.
Yeah.
And then a couple seasons later, she is dead, but like it never came up that she died until that, like he makes an offhand comment. Characters who are in Frasier are characters that aren't the same characters in Cheers. Like his dad, John Mahoney, is actually Cy Flembeck, who writes jingles for commercials. Roz Doyle is like some campaign or journalist, because Woody ends up running for, I I think mayor
Right.
of Boston, or whatever district he's in. So that actress who plays Roz is some other journalist character. So it's fun seeing those kind of like things not line up. And then he also, Frasier admits his dad's dead in Cheers, but he's obviously and Niles never comes up.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's interesting to see, like, because this is the era before we really have like DVDs and like just rewatch value beyond reruns, like, and fanboys. So like they didn't really give a shit about the continuity. They were still operating under that system of like, well, you air it once and then it's done, and then maybe a rerun.
And hurry, we have to make 26 episodes, in like 4 months. So
that show's still amazing, though. I do love Cheers.
Yeah, and also I was super impressed with how good the video quality of the episodes are on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
they're really cleaned up.
Oh yeah.
I think around season 4, the mastering dips a little bit, like it's a little pixelated, but and then it gets better by the end because filmmaking quality got better by the 90s.
If I remember, because like that's why I was asking if it was on Netflix, because when I knew it was definitely on Netflix was when I was still in film school and I watched it and it looked great. I was amazed it looked that great.
The first season especially is so sharp.
I know, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And the series finale, there's a scene where they're I think it's actually the whole last 3 episodes. I don't know, like someone got a note to pull the camera out farther, but you can see all the studio lights. They're attached to above the bar, like the glass rack.
No, that's just what Sam wanted in the bar.
Yeah, I guess he got a discount on like
he got studio
lighting.
There was a production of Cats that was in Boston, and then he was able to get the lights and put them in his bar.
Yeah, so they'll show up a little bit, and that also opens up. There's a shot where they're watching like some awards show, and so the camera's behind the TV at the bar, looking at the bar itself, and everyone like looking back.
Right.
And you see the boom pole like cross above, like between the lights, trying to get over to Sam Malone.
Was it like because I don't remember it?
I think it's the last episode.
Is it that egregious, or like? Is it like clearly? It's like so clearly there, or was it? Did it? Obviously,
it's the first time I'd seen it.
Okay, so all right, well,
and normally I'm not like my full attention on these things, so I was able to like in a moment's notice, look over and see it. So
I
thought that was fun because I never really noticed those things.
Yeah, the only time I really noticed it was in Funny People when Adam Sandler's talking to Eric Bana, and you can see a boom mic shadow like as clear as day, and it's distracting as all hell.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. Cheers.
Yeah. And then today, Batman Forever had a rescreening.
Hell yeah.
Doing the I think 80th anniversary of Batman's stuff.
Yeah, so they're basically doing the first 4 Bat flicks.
Yeah, I missed Batman and Batman Returns, but Forever was available today, and I was late to the movie, by like a minute. It was empty when I bought my ticket.
So they revoked your nerd membership for being late, right?
Sure, yeah. So I bought my ticket thinking I would be the only person in the theater.
Oh.
And then I tried to get concessions for a little bit, but they were like not really attending to people. So I was like, screw it, I'll just save some money and not get anything. And in that short amount of time, I don't know if someone bought a ticket and went in, but when I got in there was somebody already in there with a huge bucket of popcorn. So I was like, but no one bought a ticket before me, so how is this guy here? I'm guessing that he snuck into that screening.
What did he look like? Can you give the police a description of this assailant?
I didn't stare at him, but he seemed like a big guy, and he had the biggest bucket of popcorn you could get. And then I think 5 minutes before the movie ended, some woman walked in and just started talking above me. So I think it was those two. So I think he was waiting for her for their real movie, and he got there early, and he was just like, fucking, I'm going to watch some other movie. So I almost had a private screening of Batman Forever.
And it's not the same when you have to hear "Kiss from a Rose" at the end credits with that fat guy sitting in the same room with you.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Yeah, it would be awkward. The movie itself, though, still hold up for you as okay entertainment?
Yeah, growing up, it was my second favorite Batman movie, but then I rewatched Returns, and that flip-flopped, and it's,
the Jim Carrey show.
Jim Carrey makes it more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones really hamming it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the era. Like, I don't know what else he would have done. You know, it would have been nice to see Billy D. Williams do that part, but probably only under Tim Burton.
I don't even think that.
I mean, I can't imagine Billy D. Williams doing that same performance.
No, he would have done something way cooler.
But yeah, growing up, like the production design, like really catches your eye. But being an adult, you know, I miss Anton Furst's
the
production design. Yeah,
that gothic style. Yeah,
Art Deco,
which first died not too long after I think Returns or something like that.
No, like shortly after just the first Batman.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so he didn't even do Returns.
Oh. So then, so nobody else did.
Which is why Returns looks like slicker and.
Wait, is Returns Ferretti?
Bo Welch.
Oh, Bo Welch, okay.
Yeah, who directed Cat in the Hat, which is currently on Netflix.
Oh,
and
yeah!
I might revisit.
God.
That travesty.
That's a movie that really hates its audience and hates humanity.
Even like Netflix has that, like if you stop on it, it'll start auto playing a preview.
Uh-huh.
Even the Cat in the Hat preview, I was just like, oh my God, this is awful.
I saw that in the theater with my sister.
So yeah, Batman Forever. Yeah, Jim Carrey definitely. There were times where I started to nod off, but it definitely grabs your attention.
I still like the moment after he kills Ed Bakley Jr. where he's like, "Surf's up, Big Kahuna."
Yeah, and then the whole Chase Meridian stuff just seems like it seems like there's a lot of, which makes sense because Warner Brothers is like, hey, we need to make this kid friendly, so here's a bunch of studio notes. And so it's just like, okay, Batman has to hit all these check boxes. There needs to be like a romantic entanglement. Everything needs to be colorful so we can sell toys.
Did those mandates say, though, we need somebody who's like super horny for Batman at every given moment? Like, because she's like horned up for Batman the entire movie.
Yeah.
That scene on the rooftop where she's just like I'll buy the wine or whatever that was. I'm like, oh my God, this is really weird
really
for
cringy.
a kid's movie.
Yeah. But she has aged well. Like she, after watching Destroyer earlier this year, and what?
Because the makeup in Destroyer, it would have been different if you had said another Nicole Kidman movie where she wasn't buried in makeup.
Well, there's scenes in Destroyer where she's not in makeup.
Oh, there are? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie.
There's like 3 generations of her in Destroyer.
Oh, I've just seen the trailer. So.
Yeah, there's stuff where they've de-aged her, like Marvel style, where she. And then there's like her current.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad then. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's a bad joke. But no, right on.
Yeah.
Like overall, those fun watch though. I'm sure in the theater.
Yeah, it just checked a box off my list. Like, hey, I saw Batman Forever in the theater, and
Batman and Robin is next.
Yeah. I guess I got to see Batman 66 at some point in the theater. And the last thing I got to see because it was snowing so much. Well, it wasn't snowing that much, but it was just like a bad situation on the road. I just pulled off of I-25 after a film event and went and saw Long Shot to try and kill some time and wait for the storm to pass.
How was it?
And that I really enjoyed. Like it's a romantic comedy, which I don't like. But this is fun because it's basically super bad, like raunchy super bad as a romantic comedy and a little bit of like Hillary Clinton campaign mixed together. It's really charming. Like it's a lot of wish fulfillment. Like you can tell. Like the schlubby guy gets the really beautiful girl type thing. What if we, if weed was legal, how much better it would make the country, type stuff. I
don't know. Why don't we ask each of us here in the room? We all live in the state where it's not possible.
Like there's a scene where Charlize Theron gets a high off of Molly, and then she has to negotiate a hostage situation. And she gets away with it, So stuff like that.
Because at first I thought that movie was supposed to be called Flarsky, so when I saw Long Shot, I was like, "What's this all about?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's the same fucking movie."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it looks interesting. I want to see it. So
that's good to know. I wasn't even considering it, but I might go check it out now.
Yeah, it's like the dirty humor is really like what kind of made it fun for me because it's really filthy in places.
Seems like Rogan's having a bit of a resurgence because there's supposed to be another super bad-esque film coming out later this year with like 10-year-old kids cursing up a storm. So.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Good Guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the trailer for it or anything, but
I think it played before Long Shot, and that's why I was like,
ooh, really?
Yeah, like I saw it like come through like Slash Film or something, but I was like, okay, whatever. I'll eventually see the trailer somewhere, so I didn't watch it then. But being forced to watch it ahead of this, I was like, oh, it looks like Kid Superbad.
Right on.
Yeah. So, and yeah, Long Shot makes some like cool points too about politics and things. So,
right on. Sweet.
Yeah, that's it for me, I guess.
Cool. Great. Right on. What did we see this week?
That brings us to our review of Detective Pikachu. Aaron, should people see Detective Pikachu?
I think that you should see Detective Pikachu. It's kind of what you expect, but it's fun.
Zach?
This is the best video game movie ever made. I don't know how much that's saying.
Have you not seen Super Mario Bros. The movie?
I take that back. Super Mario Brothers is still the best one.
Thank you.
Nothing else,
Thank you.
If nothing else, to watch Mojo Nixon play his guitar in Koopa Land.
Wait, have you seen Double Dragon?
I haven't seen Double Dragon.
Oh, so this might be a third.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, this
Third
is the
place.
third best video game. Wait, I do like the Tomb Raider.
Wait. Have you seen Street Fighter?
God damn
Sorry.
it. No, I have. Oh, okay, no, okay.
So it's like the 10th best.
Yeah.
Video
This is
game
better
adaptation.
than Doom.
Better than Doom. Better than
the first
Tomb Raider.
Better than the first Tomb Raider movies with Angelina Jolie, which I haven't seen.
Maybe the third one without her. Yes.
Yeah, slightly better than the one they made without her. Although I like that one. Okay. Yeah, you should go see it. It's very cute. I'm actually very surprised they got away with making this movie as good as they did. I think the script's pretty solid. I have some issues with the third act, but not in the places where I thought I would. And some of the editing's a little weird in my eyes, but I think the whole cast is wonderful too. I like Justice Smith in it. I think he's fun. Ryan Reynolds thankfully didn't do what I thought he would do in this movie, which is just Deadpool around. So, and the Pokemon and the art direction and the set design of this thing, like the visual effects and the art design and the set deck look great. Like this looks amazing, and the cinematography is pretty special because it is shot on film. It does look like a detective movie, so I appreciated it. So yeah, I'd go check it out. It's a fun time at the movies.
Yeah, it's an interesting watch visually. It's amazing that like a studio would allow this much this high level of production for a Pokemon like property.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's fun. It's charming. Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu actually, it makes sense when you watch the movie that it's more than just a like a marketing ploy to get people into the. Like it is, but it's also like it makes the story actually makes sense as to why he's able to talk, more than just like some MacGuffin. But story wise, like being a detective movie, I wish it was more of a more interesting mystery. So that's like the only thing that hurts it for me is I wasn't really engaged in the story. I was just more interested in the gags. So here's the trailer for Detective Pikachu.
So there I was. I woke up with a heavy case of amnesia in the middle of nowhere. The only clue to my past is Harry's name and address inside this hat. So I made my way to the apartment, and that's when I found you and your stapler gun.
Stop talking! You're a hallucination!
You're a hallucination.
So you're a talking Pikachu with no memories who's addicted to caffeine.
I can stop whenever I want. These are just choices. Another round, extra shot, black as night. Thank you, sweetie. I don't know. Maybe Harry got in too deep. Mixed up with the wrong crowd, that kind of thing. Look, you can talk to humans. I can talk to Pokemon. And if you want to find your pops, we're gonna need each other.
No, I don't need a Pokemon.
What about a world-class detective? Ah, my clues!
What is all this?
Harry is still alive. Case closed. But still open until I solve it. All right, here it is. Harry faked his own death. Or somebody else faked Harry's death. Or Harry faked somebody else is dead. That last one doesn't work at all.
Now, obviously, I've dealt with this putz before, so I'll just do it again.
Hey, bud, what are you doing?
I can't do it when people are watching. Get me the hell out of here!
That's a twist. That's very twisty.
Get him!
He's barely moving.
Don't tell him that. Oh, he's on a bike. Quick, get in front of him.
Stop.
Oh, no. He's going down hard, Tim. Should have worn a helmet.
I agree with you because I think at some point in the third act especially, but I think also, I guess throughout the whole film, there seems to be a lack of focus on how to do that mystery element correctly. And we are very enamored with Pokemon in this movie as a whole. So, which I want it to be. But I liked anytime they did something detective-y, I loved it.
Yeah.
Everything they did something Pokemon-y, I loved it.
But it's so
not
flashy.
as much as I like the detective stuff.
It's so flashy and bombastic in places, like it kind of pulls me out of trying to follow the clues to where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and let you tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Which, I want to be able to be Pikachu and kind of connect the dots myself.
Right.
So this movie doesn't really give me space to do that.
But I don't think it was ever going to intend to do that. So, like, maybe I went in with the expectation of, like, I'm going to be spoon-fed something.
Yeah,
so,
it's
fine.
It's intended for a younger audience, obviously, but even Pixar is able to do things that feel like a things that are happening on like a deeper level.
Right, and unfortunately, we can't expect Warner Brothers to operate on that same level.
Which we kind of get that with like the father-son story,
Mhm.
which I thought was like I sort of saw coming, but again, that's why him being able to talk makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool because otherwise it would have just been like, oh well, they just got Ryan Reynolds because he's funny.
Yeah. The spoilers is that the reason why is because Mewtwo, the 150th Pokemon,
which blew my mind because I thought like he was a big villain in the games, right?
He's like a hidden. You can find him and catch him, and he's one of the best ones you can get. But it's not like a story piece in it.
Yeah, and then if you hack
at least the original game.
Yeah, and if you hack the game correctly, you can get Mew. So,
well, I watched the first cartoon movie, and he was like the villain in that, right?
Yeah, but that's
I think
the movie,
so,
not
yeah.
the game.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the game and the movie don't necessarily
they're
cooperate.
very different. Yeah, different
Okay.
trajectories in those.
Gotcha.
The movie's just very much, hey, you're catching him. Hey, you catched him. What next?
I remember very little beyond the Pikachu slap fight in that first one. Like
That's
I was cracking up because I thought it was
amazing.
hilarious.
I like Meowth giving the monologue about, like, I learned something today.
I just realized there's no Meowth in this movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't notice one.
That was an asshole move not to put him in this movie. He could have talked with Detective Pikachu.
I
Saving
mean,
him for the sequel.
Yeah, you got to save stuff for the sequel, but still, I was like,
Yeah.
he's actually pretty well known.
Yeah.
But I guess even Jigglypuff only got one scene.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
I mean, yeah, but Psyduck though, I want
Psyduck
I want
got
a
a lot of
Psyduck.
time.
Yeah. I want a Psyduck in a little fucking children's carrier.
What do you think your guys' Pikachu or your Pokemon would be? Because everyone in this world has a companion.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good question.
Mine would be Pikachu because that's like
Because you're
the only
lame.
one I give a shit about.
And you're lame.
And I'm lame.
I think I'd have a Sandshrew. I like those. They're little like armadillo things.
Mm-hmm.
I would have one of the ghost Pokemon. So either Ghastly, Gengar, or the ball floating one. I think Gengar because he's a ghost, but he's also fat. So he kind of represents both my ideologies.
Zach identifies with fat ghosts.
For full details, see Real Nerds Pod Show sees episode 4.
You're not fat in that though.
That is true. I'm skinny in that one.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, I guess like I Psyduck because I get confused a lot. So, and it creates an explosion.
I will say one of my favorites is Torterra, so that was cool that showed up in the movie.
Which I liked that sequence. I had an issue with the way it was edited. Like anytime it felt like they were cutting away to the Tataris like underneath, and then like it would cut away to the action, and as if that was already happening. Like there was no like through line to it. Like it felt like the continuity of it was broken up. Like it's an action scene, so I guess it can do whatever it wants. But
no, that scene did kind of feel like a mess to me too when I was watching it.
It didn't feel smooth.
Is the lab destroyed? Because it's not like they ran very far from it before that happened. And then what's his name? Like like the one, I forget the villain characters, but his son was there and captured. So he didn't get swallowed up and all that, and then also like he is the good guy by the end. So why is he capturing?
Because that bad guy
that's right, it was Ditto.
It was Ditto, which I liked that twist a lot. I was like, it's a Ditto, like oh shit.
My crowd went nuts, and I had no idea why it was why that was popular. I'd never heard of Ditto before.
Because he imitates other Pokemon, but he's just got like
creepy eyes. Yeah. So that's it. That's why everyone was like in an uproar.
I think it's what's interesting about this film is like I don't remember, like I loved Pokemon when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. I fell off of it because I grew up, and then I got into the Pokemon Go game, like running around because I liked walking around catching shit, and I would remember some of these Pokemon, but I didn't like I had an emotional connection to the cartoon, I guess, to some degree when I was younger. So when I saw everybody pop up that I recognized, I was like, oh, and that's what this movie really wants you to do, is really wants you to remember those Pokemon. And it does a good job of it. Like I said, I have a problem with that third act in terms of it not being a good mystery movie, but I love when it becomes a bombastic Pokemon movie at the end of it. And it's Bill Nighy, right?
Mm-hmm. Playing
Mewtwo? Or Mewtwo inside of Bill Nighy. And I liked him floating around, like, fighting Pikachu. Like, that's a Pokemon movie I thought about in my head when I was a kid. But, yeah, and then I think that I liked that twist at the end with Ryan Reynolds. And I thought it was a very nice scene at the end. It's expected, but also since it's a kid's movie, I kind of give it a pass because they handle it maturely. I don't think they handle it stupidly, which I appreciated.
Right. It's got heart to it, but it's not over the top. Like
exactly. Like, it's very soft. Like, it's not beating me over the head with a stick. So,
I'd like to say too with the Ditto, something I thought was really cool was they show the Ditto earlier on when they're recording in the studio turn into a person to push the Bill Nighy's wheelchair away.
Oh,
and I thought that was a really good kind of clue that later it could have been the people, you know.
Forgot about that.
So this movie's really genius all along. No, it is good foreshadowing. I didn't think about that because he's the guy who rolls him around in the wheelchair, and then
but it's a really short, quick thing that the Ditto sitting there like pops up and starts pushing him away, and then they move to something else. So it didn't even hit until we were driving home, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. We saw him do that earlier, and I just, wouldn't have thought that would have come back. But
another question I have is, does his son not recognize his own father's voice because
doesn't hang out with him that often? I guess not.
Yeah, they did kind of imply that he left when he was younger and they didn't really talk anymore, so you might forget what he sounded like, but I feel like that you probably would notice it.
Okay.
Or, Ryan Reynolds when he was younger probably sounds different than the way Ryan Reynolds sounds when he's older. I don't know.
Yeah.
If the Honest Trailer guys can get Ryan Reynolds onto their videos, then we can call Ryan Reynolds right now and ask him what the answer is. And he'll give us a snarky answer, and then we can help him promote Deadpool 3.
And we'll laugh and laugh.
I was going to say, have any of you guys, because you weren't on the episode, but have any of you guys seen Happy Time Murders?
I wasn't on the episode. I've seen it.
No, but you weren't there for the episode. It was me and Ryan only.
I didn't talk about it the next week, though?
I don't remember, but you have seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you haven't seen it, Aaron?
I haven't seen it, no.
This movie does what Happy Time Murders tried to do way better. In the idea of just like, hey, take like a IP-ish world and do a detective story in it. It's basically the same thing, except not problematic and full of dumb puppet jokes. So I appreciated that they were able to kind of like fall into that world. It also had a bit of Roger Rabbit element to me of it. Not the same rules, but
I said the same thing. Like it reminded me of those classic combinations of live action animation where like you can tell it doesn't quite line up, but it's got that charming element because of that for some reason. It made me think of those kind of older.
Yeah, they played the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer ahead of my screening, and there's a movie where it looks like Detective Pikachu. They went out of the way to build Rhyme City as like a real kind of foreign world,
or a Pokemon City, yeah.
Where Sonic the Hedgehog looks like, well, we just threw Sonic the Hedgehog into your everyday life, and that's about it.
In Georgia.
Yeah, in Georgia. So all you're going to get is CGI characters, and, they have to deal with the fact that, but part of the charm of the game is, the fantasy worlds that exist within it. So I hope while they're also remodeling the character, they kind of think about
changing the backdrops.
Yeah, bringing Green Hill Zone in or Casino.
Or, James, but it also sounds like from the trailer that movie's so solidly taking place on Earth and not in anything Earth-related.
Yeah, because I think Sonic even says, like, well, I have to save your world or something.
Your planet. He says, I have to save your planet. I saw that trailer this morning. Oh, God. I'm not even a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and I don't want to see that movie.
Yeah, we've got the Avengers. We're good. Let's go to Sonic's planet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Sonic is Captain Marvel.
I was really glad that the pushback caused the studio to say they're going to redesign the Sonic model, because, yeah, it's pretty awful.
They should have made that call, though, like, so long ago. And is Paramount doing it? I don't know. I think it's Paramount doing it.
Yeah,
I think it's Paramount.
The rings replace the stars in the logo.
That studio needs to. Like I know any better, but they need to stop. Like they're.
I'm sure Disney's like creeping in. They're like getting close. Just the Disney warship is hovering over that mountain.
Yep.
I just imagine Robert Shaw like putting his claw against the blackboard, going like, "I'll get you, studio."
Mickey Mouse with the Infinity Glove. I'm gonna put the Paramount Stone in here.
Balanced as all things should be. Snap.
Wipes out all other studios.
Paramount is getting hugged by Warner Brothers. I don't feel so good, Mr. Brothers. I don't want to go.
5 years later, Orion comes back. He's like, "Do you remember that time that I felt all dusty?"
No, Orion's Captain Marvel. Because then it comes in, helps out for a bit, and then goes away again.
There's a recent Orion movie that showed up this year. What was it?
Is it The Prodigy? Well, that's one of them. I know that's.
It was something I actually saw. I can't remember what it was.
They're coming back next month, though, with Child's Play.
That might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like Mark Hamill being in that. Like the one voice hint they dropped at the end of that new trailer. That was cool. But yeah, Detective Pikachu, fun flick, and again, I like that Ryan Reynolds didn't do the Deadpool thing. Like it's more of a character, and I know part of that's because since he's not live on set, he's not going to be telling up a joke storm. But like that's what that trailer was really pushing for us in terms of our demographic.
I felt like he was the same character, but he just had less filthier jokes to play with.
I feel like there's more. There's not to say kindness. I guess there's.
I think there was like 2 jokes actually that they noted that had like innuendo in them that kind of flew under the radar.
Right, but
can't remember what they were though.
But it always felt like when he was quipping, he wasn't doing it to break a fourth wall. Like he was always within the situation. It didn't he never turned to the camera.
Yeah,
or did anything
That's
like
true.
that. I think the closest he gets is when he goes, "That's very twisty," but it's also like, well, he's looking through a magnifying glass. He's a fucking Pikachu. He can do cute things, and it's adorable.
Yeah.
No, I was actually surprised how much I laughed at the humor in the movie. Like I had expected it, especially with the PG rating and everything. It was going to be a kids movie. It wasn't going to work. I assumed because it was Ryan Reynolds, he'd sneak in a few inappropriate jokes that you kids wouldn't pick up on, and it delivered on that. But I laughed quite a bit during the movie, which surprised me.
Yeah, I think it happened like when he's like they're in his childhood room and they're talking about his mom or something. I think there was some kind of like sexual innuendo joke that flew by, and I can't remember what it was.
No, but there's a fun serial killer one where he's just like he notices that his bed's got Pikachu ears, and he's just like, are you going to kill and stuff me?
Something like that. Yeah,
I just thought that was funny. I love when he's singing Pokemon theme song
Oh,
down the
yeah.
road set.
Yeah,
that was funny.
That was good.
That's like, because that's the one thing throughout this movie. I'm like, are they going to acknowledge that song and all? At some point, I'm like, no, they're not. And then, bam.
There's some music cues that are like instrumentals of it.
Yeah, and then and they also, like, the score's got a nice, like, it reminds me of the game's music mixed with, like, that 8-bit feel of it. But it's like, it's never, like, overt. It's just kind of sprinkled into the score.
Yeah, the post-credit motion graphics was, like, really, like, art design-wise, I thought really good, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Including the Smash Brothers theme.
And I know we kind of, like, I'm never, like, I don't, like, I'm trying to think, because, like, if you're thinking of a film that has the best visual effects, like, each year, like, to me, the visual effects have to serve the story, and they're not necessarily about realism or, like, authenticity. Like, it's about, like, does it serve the story well? I'd make an argument that this is some of the best special effects I've seen in a movie this year, next to Endgame, because it does serve the story really well. Like, those Pokemon feel like they're supposed to be there, and it's not distracting. They don't look like cartoons necessarily, but they don't look realistic either. Like, it's the best middle ground. It's kind of like when the Peanuts movie that came out from Blue Sky isn't CG for a good reason. Like, it's kind of just a flat thing. It's the same thing. So I was just blown away by those visual effects. Like, I want another Pokemon movie. Maybe something different. Like, I don't need another Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, it's actually titled Pokemon : Detective Pikachu. So there might be some, like, sub-Pokemon genres, though.
Pokemon Team Rocket.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're building a Pokemon universe.
Yeah. Ooh, hashtag it's all
their Iron Man.
Hashtag it's all Poke connected.
Yeah, they just speaking of the world building aspect too, I really appreciated the Rhyme City looking distinctively like a city in Japan, and that they drove on the left hand side of the road and everything. So it had these like little nods to the country of origin of Pokemon, but still didn't feel like you were necessarily there or you were necessarily in a place in the United States. It was very like it was a city that could exist, but you didn't know where it could exist, and I really appreciated that, those aspects of it.
And the production design did that well, even in the city before Rhyme City, where like the cars all have like foreign-ish license plates, but they could be Europe, it could be Japan, it could be anywhere. But then the storefronts kind of look like small town America. Like the production design work in this film is really, really good.
Yeah, I really appreciate that they, often movies like this get really heavily Americanized, and they really did. Like they really treated the source material respectfully.
I think the only thing that seems even remotely Americanized is the fact that he's an insurance salesman at the beginning of the film, and that's like the smallest thing, because like every other aspect from like the newsroom that the gal works at, all the way up to like different like these are things that are sprinkled out through those cartoons. Like they would always make commentary on things like. It's dumb commentary, but it's commentary. And I like the Cubone scene in the field.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was like a cool, hey, this is what it's like to capture a Pokemon moment. I dug it. It was the only time a Pokeball's in that fucking movie.
With Karen Sony from Deadpool.
Dopender, yeah.
Yeah, Dopender. The news part just reminded me in Long Shot, Andy Serkis is in the movie as like a Rupert Murdoch type.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but
oh, wow.
he's in so much makeup. Like I only recognize him from the voice initially. Yeah. Anything else about Detective Pikachu?
No, go see it. Once again, like they pulled it off. I can't believe they did.
Yeah, I want to know where they shot parts of it, because there were a few shots that, especially aerials looking down when they were driving and stuff, where I was like, this looks like Scotland or Iceland. But it just didn't look like the U.S. anywhere. But I don't know where they would have shot it. So
yeah,
they shot it at Rhyme City. It's all real, guys.
It's all CGI.
Cool. What are we seeing next week?
I think next week is John Wick 3.
Oh shit!
So
the
turn off your brains, sit down, and just enjoy some crazy action.
The head start is going to be over. Once that movie starts, they're going to all be after him. He's going to need guns. Lots of guns. I love that they used that line in that trailer.
I can't wait to find out more about why this universe is just populated with assassins and they don't do anything else. It's just an entire economy based on assassins.
I don't know. Why is he so upset about his dog dying? Like, it's all a movie world, man. It's a wonderful movie world we all live in.
He's got 2 dogs that are fighting with him in this one.
I know, exactly.
Oh, man, I feel like something bad's going to happen to one of those dogs.
Oh, fuck.
If not both.
Who do you think he fight? Who's like? Because I've seen the cast list and whatnot. Who's going to be the ultimate bad in it? Is it Halle Berry? Because it doesn't seem like it would be Halle Berry.
I think it's Mark Dacascos from Double Dragon.
Okay, cool. Don't name drop those people I don't know about.
Did you notice in the trailer when Angelica Houston's talking to him about the dogs, and they only use like a clip of her turning to him and saying it, but it's clearly overdubbed just because they want to use that angle, and it's not actually what she's saying.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta sell a movie sometimes. But I do have to remember to rewatch Wick 1 and 2 because Wick 2 is great.
But it probably means that joke's not in the movie. It's just in the trailer.
Goods, lots of goods.
Don't you remember that this is the franchise where the dogs die?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see that next week. Also, thanks again for everyone who came out for our 400th episode recording last Monday.
Yeah.
You'll hear that in a couple weeks when it actually...
It's amazing it turned into an orgy so quickly at that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
it's pretty disgusting that we recorded the audio of it, so it sounds even grosser.
It sounds like the opening to the movie Society. It's very, very annoying and very, very disturbing.
So you're going to have to use your imaginations, which is way worse than actually seeing it.
Also, I can't believe I ate an entire turkey leg while involved in the orgy. Like, that was definitely not necessary, but...
Yeah, and you didn't share it, so that was even ruder.
Well, yeah, no, I'm rude and shocking. I'm extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile.
But the game was fun, and I think we should probably bring a little bit back for our Denver Comic-Con show, which is June 1st.
How long is our block, though?
45 minutes.
Do you think we could fit it in?
We'll just talk about less 1989 stuff.
That is true.
Maybe just do one round of the game.
All right.
There's...
I won't talk about the fall of the Berlin
There
Wall,
is another like Family Feud game show at the con, so we can't steal all of the thunder. But there is also a 1999 panel. So
what if we did a 2009 panel just to show them up?
Remember stuff from 10 years ago?
We don't either.
You remember The Blind Side? What a piece of garbage.
Yep.
Oh, that reminds me, the Star Trek reboot's 10 years old, and I saw an article about like praising it, and then I read that comment section, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have followed the Wreck-It Ralph rules.
Never read the comment section.
Never do that.
I don't know why. I was just like, does it hold up for people? And then I opened up a whirlwind of hell.
At least there was no Star Wars movie in 2009, so well, not all bad.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but it's good we've got Star Wars. It's just...
That's good we have it now, but I'm saying it's good that it wasn't in 2009.
Yeah. Because then, there would have been a battle like Middle Earth style to end all battles. You see people with tricorders throwing their phasers at people with lightsabers. It would have been hilarious.
Dozen IGN and /1 articles about which is better, the 2009 Star Trek or the 2009 Star Wars. Go at it.
And then I'll sit on top of a roof with a bowl of popcorn going like, A Serious Man's the best movie of the year.
So yeah, check us out at Denver Pop Culture Con. We have a panel June 1st at 5:30. We'll have a booth.
We'll interview
102.
you. Yeah.
Stop by. We'll do interviews. Pick up our pint glass.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
We have T-shirts. Back to the Future style.
Yes, and they look awesome. By the way,
Yeah,
I have it displayed on my shelf right now. So.
Oh yeah.
Want to be cool like me and have it on your shelf? Got to come to the con and get that glass and then put it on your shelf.
Buy two so that you have a backup in case one breaks. I'm not just saying that because I want you to buy all the glasses so I don't have to take them home. And I can pay off my credit card.
Basically, if you don't find a way to get all these glasses bought, Brad sells me on the black market. So,
That's right.
And I'm not worth much. So.
I'll break some of them and cut Zach and then sell Zach on the black market.
Oh, my kidneys are worth a lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah. Hell yeah, they are. Cool. Aaron, thank you for coming by, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Hopefully it will be less than 2 years the next time I get to come back on the show.
No, man.
We do this every week, so you know where to find us.
Hi, Zach. Are we recording today?
What's a movie you're waiting for coming out?
Yeah. Oh gosh, this year I feel like
it was Palms.
It was
so
there was so much hype for Endgame, and I was so stoked for it. And it came out on my birthday, and it was like that was my big oh man, we got to do this. And now I'm like, shit, what else is coming out this year? I feel like I'm just not aware. I was so focused on that, but I'm really excited for the new Spider-Man. I think that's going to be fun. Cool. I really love Tom Holland in that role. He's just the best. And especially knowing the tie-ins and the aftermath with Endgame, it'll be interesting to see where they go with that.
So I take you liked Endgame?
I did, yeah. Gosh, but otherwise, yeah, I really need to just see what's actually coming out this year.
We got Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Every time I see that new trailer, I want to see this.
Which a guy we went to school with, I think, worked on that. So,
ooh, you'll have to tell me who after we're wrapped.
I will do that. Yeah, I don't want to spill the beans. It's live, but
yeah, a new Star Wars movie at the end of the year.
Ooh, yeah, that's
another
right,
Rambo coming out.
Yeah, we got that.
Aladdin, Lion King.
I'd rather watch Rambo 5 than watch those two Disney movies you just mentioned.
I think Star Wars is the only one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Brightburn looks interesting.
Oh yeah,
Brightburn, yeah, dude, is that supposed to come out this month?
No, I think it's July.
That would make more sense. I just thought it was May for whatever reason, but yeah, no, that and God, I don't know. Booksmart is the one I'm looking forward to. It's coming out in a couple weeks, but that's just because I want to see Olivia Wilde's debut. So,
but anyway,
yeah,
John Wick 3 next week.
Exactly, John Wick 3 Parabellum.
Yeah.
Until next week, though. Bye.
Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.